The pet industry itself is almost 70 billion. Kathy, take notes. You probably want to work on some pet things. For 25 years that I've been in retail, this industry has grown. If you look at how much was spent in 2017, almost 85 million households. If anybody wonder how that breaks down, most popular pet, anybody know? Dog, cat? No. Fish. Thank you. Freshwater fish specifically. 130 million plus households with freshwater fish. Between dogs, cats, who wins? Dogs. Okay. I personally believe dogs, but actually there are more cats. There are roughly 94 million cat households in the U.S., roughly 90 million dog households in the U.S., and if you're keeping score all the way down to reptile, it's about 15 million households. Now, with only 85 million having pets, that tells you there's an awful lot of people that have a lot of critters running around and just keep expanding their family, right? That's part of why it's continued to grow at the rate that it has. And through all of that, one of the names that's really been leading that growth and driving that trend within customers is our company. For those that don't know about us, this is what we look like. Over 1,650 stores, still growing, all United States and Canada. We are the largest provider of pet services in the U.S. So if you think about anything from hotel to grooming, salon, doggy daycare, we will provide services to over 16 million pets a year. Not only do we have a large representation of business within our PetSmart stores, but there might have even been a reference to it yesterday. I know somebody asked me about it. Chewy.com is the fastest growing and largest e-commerce provider in the space. Depending on what you do or don't believe about market share, is the only rival to Amazon in its space that has similar or higher market share. And at the point in time, or at least within its category, and at the point in time that we acquired it was the largest e-commerce acquisition in retail. Thankfully, we don't hold that title solely anymore. Those multiples have continued to go. But together, we collectively provide the most goods and services to pet parents across the United States. And I had the privilege of being able to work with and oversee and serve both of those parts of our organization. We've got over 55,000 associates, more than 11,000 items in store, and one of the cool things is we also have partnerships with over 900 veterinary locations in our stores. So when it comes to one-stop shop for all the love and care for your pets that you need, PetSmart is your partner. You heard this yesterday loud and clear. Anybody who is winning in this space, how many times did you hear somebody talk about why they do what they do? You know, some of the common denominators that I've heard as I've listened to speakers talk is they talk a lot about, maybe mission, maybe vision, but it all comes down to why is it that you're here and why do you matter? Why do you matter to consumers? Why do you matter as a team? And as I stepped into the company, look, our company has gone through a lot over the last several years. We've dealt with an activist investor. We've dealt with being bought and sold. We've dealt with leadership transitions, taking on an acquisition. And one of the things that, as the new CEO, I recognized was that all that stuff becomes distracting. And our opportunity was actually to refocus on the customer and make sure that we were true to what it was that mattered most to them and most to us. Now, the good news is we're blessed to have a really clean, clear mission. We love pets. We think pets make us better people. Everything that we do is for the betterment of our pet parents and their pets. It's about helping them lead much richer and more fulfilling lives. Whether it's the goods that we sell or the services that we provide, we really don't sell stuff, we sell care. And that's something that impressed me about the PetSmart team. No matter how much any of that other noise got in the way, this was the common denominator. When you heard those 75 people cheer, they do that and are here because of the love that they have for animals. We have 1,600 people on our campus in Phoenix at any given point in time. Anybody want to know how many pets we have on campus? Take a guess. Not quite 1,600, but it's between 1,000 and 1,200. All right? If you're having a bad day, look, I'll just say this. It's really hard to have a tough conversation with somebody when they're holding a puppy, right? I mean, and I've had to do that. When you're giving somebody, hey, listen, let's talk about accountability, and they're, I mean, that's difficult. Especially when the dog turns to you. I mean, but it's part of what makes us special. And to be able to have that connection and know that, look, when we do what we do well, it matters, right? It's as clean of a connection to mission and vision that I've ever had the opportunity to be associated with, and it's one that's fairly universally appreciated. We had an opportunity to refocus on that. We also had a need, once we centered on that, I asked our team, hey, what is it that we need to do better? And it became very clear that before we could really focus on customer, we had to focus on how do we work well together. Every CEO that had come in before had changed the values of the organization, which tells you they were probably not so much about the values of the organization, but more about the values of the individual, right? And I committed, the last thing I'm going to do is actually change the values of the organization, because that's not about any one individual. So we surveyed all of our team. And the first thing they all told me, to the tune of about 94% of our total population of 55,000, they said, well, I don't know what you're going to do, but I hope you're going to change the values. So we did. I was like, all right, I'm wrong about that, although I agreed with them. I mean, one of our values before was rigor. Anybody know what rigor means? If you actually look up the definition, it's inflexible to change. Probably not the aspiration that you want, particularly today, right? So what we did is we spent time talking about it. Look, we start with a passion for pets and people. That was clear. Accountability was an opportunity for the organization, something that we weren't as good at as we needed to be, and so we thought about what's the right way to articulate that and make sure that we're delivering on our commitments to each other and that we're actually playing the kind of active role in growing the business and leading. Playing to win. I think when you go through a lot of those transitions, you lose sight of what it takes to actually be a leader in your space and to lean forward. Ultimately, learn new tricks. I loved what Marvin talked about this morning. The two words that a lot of things stood out to me, but if you talk to really great merchants and leaders in retail, you'll hear the words intellectual curiosity a lot. That idea that there is always a better way, which is very different than saying things can never be good enough, right? Doesn't matter how good things are. If you're constantly seeking to ask questions and understand, that's something that we want to make sure our teams are focused on. That's expected of us as leaders in the space. And then ultimately, we serve possibly the most diverse set of customers in the U.S., right? A lot of retailers do. But no matter what's unique about PetSmart and the customers that we serve, and even our associate base, is no matter how you define diversity, whether it's on ethnicity or age or economics or sexual orientation or et cetera, it doesn't matter. Our numbers are fairly ubiquitously distributed. And so to not have that reflected in our values, which it had really not been for some period of time, was a really big miss. Making sure that we understand how to leverage those differences to create something greater than any of our own individual positions was something that was really important to our organization. And so that's another thing that we brought into. Diversity and inclusion had not been a part of our recent history. And that became a bigger part of our strategy. I'm proud to say today, these are examples of associate resource groups that are focused on a number of diversity initiatives. If you look at our population in the office today, we've got about 1,600 people on campus. Better than 50% of our associates are involved in one or more of these groups. The level of activity and commitment to make sure that we are working well together and calling upon the backgrounds and influences and insights that all these individuals bring to our organization is something that I'm really excited to see grow within our company. As it relates to customer strategy, it's really pretty simple for us. You can remember one word, and that's smart. Services are important to what we do. Delivering high-quality, convenient services is critical to our success moving forward. Merchandise is also, it's always been critical, but the evolution for merchandise within our organization is really simple. It's not about having breadth of stuff, it's about having the right stuff. People come to us looking for solutions, and we've got to have the kind of expertly selected merchandise assortment that helps connect people to those solutions. The A in SMART is associates. It's our biggest secret weapon. When people walk into our stores, over half of the people who come into our stores are coming just to have something to do with their pets. The joy of being able to find the right toy or the right treat because your dog picked it out, and it is usually a dog, by the way, because cats are really more roommates than pets. I mean, to be fair, I have actually seen somebody walk a cat on a leash. I wouldn't recommend it. But the level of passion that you'll find from the folks in our stores when it comes to talking about pets and connecting with pet parents about those issues is huge. The R is about relationships. I'll talk about that. It's really the recognition that we've evolved from a mass marketing organization to more of a one-to-one engagement model-driven company. And finally, the T is transformation. To be able to make all those changes, what is it that we have to do on the back end, whether it be about talent or infrastructure or any of the resources that we're deploying to be able to support those changes in how we run our business?